Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice podcast. We would like to first say thank you to those who tune in week after week, those who share the link on various platforms. Thank you. Y'all, this season, we are excited to bring you some hot and new topics. We are ready to push you further into your destiny. If you feel stuck or even overwhelmed, I want you to tune in and have a mind of expectancy, because we believe that if you challenge it, it will change.
Welcome back to the Power in Your Voice. Challenge it and it will change. I pray that you have been enjoying this podcast. I want to thank all of my listeners, all of my people that subscribe to us week after week. Thank you so much, y'all. I pray that you had a good love month and a good Black History Month. We are now in March, y'all. We are up on my birthday. Oh, I'm so grateful to God that He has allowed me to see another birthday. You all, I want y'all to make sure y'all hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on every social media to wish me a happy birthday. You know, I have this book out called From a Little Girl to a Queen. The reason why we're talking about this is because so many times we don't get to know who the other person is, because they look so innocent. They look as if they have nothing bad about them. My parents, I'm just trying to tell you that all of us have bad things, and it runs through our children. And we're wondering why our children are acting out the way they are. Guess what? It doesn't fall too far from the tree. Now, I didn't get to experience Wes' father. I got to experience a little bit of his mother, and she was a bad mama jamma, y'all. Oh my God, she was bad. So Wes, where did you get those characteristics from? Where did that come from?
Yeah, probably from, you probably inherit a lot of it from your family, even if it's stuff that you might not have been directly, exposed to or seen. A lot of it could be from just your makeup, your genetics, how you made, your family, the way that, a lot of the mannerisms and things that they did, it just kind of becomes a part of you. But I think that you have to, if there's things that you recognize that, that are not conducive to you as, as a person, growing up, then, you have to be willing to do what it takes to make those changes, because you'll keep on going down a certain road or certain path that might not lead to a good place. So you can't help who
Yep.
you're born to, and you can't help like what your chemical makeup inside your body is, or a lot of people say, they act like their parents in a lot of different ways, and you can't help a lot of that stuff. But it takes, you have to be willing, and it takes a lot of prayer to really change a lot of those behaviors that really are not good for you, even though you couldn't. I mean, it's stuff that you couldn't even really help. Some of it, I think some of it works for your good, and some of it probably doesn't work for your good. It depends on what it is.
That is so true. So, do you believe some of this stuff is generic?
I do. I do. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I think a lot of it comes from, like I said, from your upbringing, or just who, the family that you're born into. A lot of people that, um, that may not know their biological parents, if they were like adopted, a lot of times they don't really know why they do a lot of things that they do. But once they kind of get a little bit of history on who their parents were, it all kind of connects the dots. I
Yep.
know, one of the things that I pray for our family, and once we started having children, was that, alcohol, drinking alcohol, because that was big in my family, and I didn't know about it. Growing, I didn't really know about it or even really think much about it. But once I recognized it, that's something that I just kept saying that I didn't want that to fall upon my kids. So I said
Okay,
that that was gonna stop with me.
I like that. Now, I want to ask you a question then. Did you ever indulge in any alcohol or any of that?
Oh yeah, yes, ma'am. And it was like one of those things where you it was like you wanted to do that. That's kind of like what I wanted to do. I didn't really know why I was kind of like drawn to it until I kind of started like learning about my family and my uncles and my dad and other members of my family. I didn't really know that was a struggle or a stronghold
Yeah,
until I kind of started asking other family members or, they would start kind of telling me certain things. And then I was like, wow, okay, so that's that's why I, had that kind of like that taste or that craving because that's just, it was kind of like it was a part of me, growing up, and I didn't even honestly didn't even realize it. But once I did, and once I came to the Lord, I said that's gonna stop. Even when I came to the Lord, when I wasn't even supposed to be having any of that, because I was young, and I did, I had it. It was in my room, but to God be the glory for covering, not letting me get busted with that, because that would have been probably the end of it. But yeah, that was definitely a strong, it was a strong thing. But like I said, when I started having kids, and even more so my son, because it was the males in our family, that's when I started making that profession that wasn't going to be my son's story. That right there was
that's
gonna I was that was gonna stop with me in this lineage.
that's good. So you start making decorations and decreeing and declaring some things over your family so that thing wouldn't continue to go.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes, yes. Because
I,
I didn't want my son to have to be dealing with that. Because I know what that was like, and that's not an easy thing to just let go. And you might not really understand why it has that grip, but once you come to that knowledge, now you can do something about it.
I like that. So, what type of relationship do you and your son actually have to make sure that these things, you know, can escape that? You can escape that bad part of your life. What kind of relationship do you all have?
Oh yeah, we have a great relationship, and I shared that with him. I shared that story with him about that, and how that was a desire of mine to not have him to even have to experience that. I know that we all have life experiences and a lot of things that we go through. It helps to make us better, but I just believe that there's some things that we don't necessarily have to face, just for a lesson. If somebody's already been there, done that, then use their lesson and bypass it or escape that, so you don't have to go down that road. So I was just honest with him and told him, I was like, yeah, man, I said that was something that it was a struggle, and it was a battle in our family, and my prayer was, when you came along, that I didn't want you to have to deal with that. So it wasn't anything trying to like hide or conceal it from him, but I just told him that that's what it was. And man, to God be the glory, man. I thank God for that the Lord kept him.
I love that because sound like to me, Wes, you acknowledge what was going on in your life once you
Hmm.
found out what all of that urge was coming from, and then you began to make put an accusation behind it. You began to do something about it. So
Hmm.
so with your daughters, would you direct your daughters to not indulge in things like that?
Well, I talked to them about it too, and not to say that, not to diminish it or to take anything away from them. Um, but I because I knew that there was, you know, that was stronghold in the males in our family. It's not that I wasn't concerned, but you know, I shared that with them as well. You know what our family went through. But what I did do is when they got older and you know they started having like young men come into their life, you know, I was able to kind of let them know like, hey, you know, these are some of the things that you want to keep an eye out for, because
That's
it could be something serious. You know, it might not be just a social thing, but it could be something that that's not really in control, and something like that is hard to get under control. You know, you need you know a lot of times you really need help, and some people don't want to
yeah.
get the help. And then you know, it changes people. I was just talking to one of my daughters not too long ago, and I said, you need to understand, you know, you've never seen that side of a person,
Um,
but it changes people. It really changes
yes.
people, and you know, it's not, it could be dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
So that right there helped me to, you know, because of what I because I know how I was when I would indulge, you know. So you know, you really kind of become another person. So it really helped me to, like I said, you know, keep an eye out for that for my son, but being also open with my daughters, but at the same time, you know, kind of having that eye for, you know, watching out for who was coming into their life to say, hey, you probably want to keep an eye on that right there, because that I
Good.
recognize that. I recognize that. You know, certain things you learn and you're able to pick it out because of, you know, certain grounds that you've already walked over. So you know what certain things look like, even if it's trying to be covered up or
Yeah.
masked in some kind of way, you're still able to
Mhm.
see it because you know what that looks like.
That is amazing, Wes. It was just such a joy just to hear um the being, because no one likes to talk about their bad side. You saw how all of us start moving. We like, no, let's get to the good part, the good part. But we have to deal with these bad things so
Hmm.
our children can understand what is actually going on in their life, and with you being a father that is being right there and knowing what actually happened and what it feels like, and you can talk to them. It's just not saying, I don't want you to do this, I don't want you to do that. No, there is a reason, there are principles, there is things that could cause good or bad to come out of this. So I'm so grateful how you just began to open up to your children, and you began to talk to them, and you had standards. You did it like a loving father. You just, so many times people are like, just don't do it, because they're trying to cover up their bad stuff. They're trying to cover
Hmm.
up a lot of
Hmm.
bad things. But
Hmm.
if we don't talk about this bad stuff, y'all, our kids are going to be lost. Our families are
Hmm.
going to be lost, and they're not
Hmm.
going to know why they're lost.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
a lot of things are just handed down because there's no knowledge of the
Hmm.
family history. There's no
Hmm.
knowledge, or no one wants to talk about it.
Yep.
So I'm so grateful that you open up to let us talk about these things, because someone may be dealing with that. They are dealing with a bad girl, they're dealing with a bad boy, and they don't like us to use the word bad. And bad now in this century or this millennia, it means good. So language it changes. So um you just have to know how to reach your children. You got to know
Hmm.
how to talk to your children, because they don't know. Sometimes your parents are deceased, and the parents are their parents is deceased, and they just wilding out, and they don't know
Yep. Don't
why
know why.
they're wilding
Hmm.
out like that,
Hmm.
and they don't even know. There's some things you just inherit, that's
Yep.
all, and
Yep.
nobody knows how to talk about it, so we can cut it off, and that
Hmm.
you can get to your good, because you did that and have made an amazing life. I mean, oh, turnaround. So I'm so grateful that you allow us to talk about it on the Power in Your Voice podcast. Because sometimes those things are very private. Those things are very, where we were like, nah, I really don't want to talk about that. But I'm so grateful that you were able to be open with me. Jada, would you like to weigh in on?
I don't mind talking about my testimony at all, because I think my family wasn't aware or didn't see the power in these generational curses and issues that we dealt with in my family. And I see myself now dealing with it a lot and trying to put an end to it for the next generation to come after me, and also for my sisters and my little sisters and everything that are with me now. But I would love to share. I know we're cutting close to the end of the time, but yeah, I don't mind sharing it, because I don't want what happened to me for the other generations, or even my peers, or even people that I know now that are older than me.
I appreciate you all so much. To all of our listeners, I want you to know, let's talk about these bad things so we can get to the good thing. Be encouraged. Peace out.
Know that life can be hard at times, sometimes even unbearable. But know, when we are weak, God is strong. Let's take off the world's expectation of us and ask God, what do you expect of me? We ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Have a blessed week, and see you next week.